Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna check if the audio is working. That's the main thing, because I mean, if it's not, that'll be stupid. So we just gotta check and make sure the audio is working for the stream. And today is, of course, your next day thoughts. So we are going to be talking about what Farke had to say after the game, and also some other things. Go through the goals and see who's at fault and what we should have done in better for the goals that we conceded. Because, yeah, okay, the audio is working and we are here. So, yeah, it's one of those things about there's a couple of things that I've seen from the goals. Like, I've looked back and I've gone, oh my God, why have we not done better with that? We can get rid of the score because we all know it was 3-1. We all know it was 3-1 full time. We can get rid of that. But, yeah, it's one of those things about the performance. It started well. Like, we started okay. Like, I know we're under the cosh a little bit, and then we got the goal on the counter attack, basically. But then after that, I thought we were fine in the first half, or most of the first half. But then, yeah, the second half was terrible. But yeah, let's get into what Fark had to say after the game. I mean, that's what we normally get into first. So let's talk about it. So Daniel Fark had to say, quite normal. You're angry after a loss, which is fair. Some details important. A few details not good enough today. Really good start, which I agree. Great finish from Metcha, which I agree. That's what happens when you have a proper striker up front and not DCL. Gave this away so cheaply, which we did. I mean, their first goal. We'll get into it when we get into the goals and how they scored. But yeah, should have been more on it in the duels, which I agree with. We didn't win any of the second balls, I swear. Like every time there was a battle in the air, I swear we lost every single one of them. You know, it was one of those things where every time we went in the air for they always won the second ball. There was never a Leeds player around to win the second ball. It was always, Forest players. They're just red shirts all over the place. And we never really won a second ball. I can't remember like when we did win the second ball. The only time I remember us winning the second ball was when we scored, and Okafor won it after the flick on by Longstaff. Anyway, as I said, we'll get into the goals after. There's a lot of talk about Daniel Farke, but we'll get into that after as well. We'll get into the talk about Daniel Farke after, and should he be sacked or what's going to happen. But yeah, Farke very angry with the referee before the second goal. Felt Stuck should have been given a foul, not penalised for one, which Forest eventually scored from. Does though criticise the defence of the cross for the goal, which we'll get into that as well. That cross, I mean, I'm looking at one player in particular, but we'll get into it when we get there. But yeah, I don't even know what Farke's on about here. About there should have been a foul on Stack. I just don't agree. Like at the time watching it, I didn't think there should have been a foul on Stack at all. It might have been one of the times where he went down softly, because we did that a couple of times during the game. But I don't remember that being a foul. I do not remember that. But yeah, so I don't agree with that with Farke. Daniel Farke went on to say, now people have really not liked this one. He said the fan base is very, very emotional, which is true. Like, no matter what we say, the fan base is very emotional. We got to agree with that. Like, that's why people at the top of like the football managers and the owners and the board don't always listen to fans, and they don't go into fan pressure, because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Like they're not like fans of the club. You know what I mean? They don't have that emotional like get out. After one loss, or I know we've lost 4 and 5. I think it is, and that's not good. But they look at it with more of a a calm mind than what we would if we were in charge of the club, which is true. Everyone doubts us after every loss. I mean, that's true. Everyone doubts us after every loss. Everyone has the right to be critical, which is true. We're all critical about the performance, and one particular thing we're all critical about with Farke, I think we all agree with, is he's not proactive with his substitutions. He's always reactive, which we saw again after they made their subs and they scored from their subs with one of them crossing it in. And then after that, that's when we make our subs, that's what I've been mainly critical with that about Farke. Not much else, but that's like the main thing where I've been like, he just needs to be a bit more proactive at times. Because we have conceded too many goals, which is true in the last 2 games. Yeah. We have. In my opinion, the worst thing in all of this is that we have to start from scratch again. There's nothing that we can build on, because we are so poor in any part of the pitch. Yeah, I agree. That's the thing. Is the main thing I'm worried about if Farke gets sacked is not because I love Farke. It's mainly because Farke gets sacked, right? I don't know if the 49ers get the right person in. With Rangers, we just look after Rangers. They didn't get their first or second option. They hired Russell Martin at the start of the season. Do we trust them to get the right man in that's going to keep us up? Because I don't. I do not see that. I don't know if they're going to do that. And I don't think Daniel Farke's a bad manager. I understand people don't like him because he likes certain players that people don't like. Like he likes Aronson. I like Aronson. I think he's a good player. I think he gets criticized even when he plays okay. Like he has good against Forest. I thought he was good. and then people are criticizing him, and people are bringing Aronson over players that were worse than him, like BL worse than him, like BL worse than him, probably Ampadu worse than him, Longstaff and Stack both worse than him, and it's always Aronson. I understand there was someone put up something about like he had 0 successful take-ons out of 7, but at least he's trying. I can at least say he's trying. Like a lot of other players don't try, and you can see that on the pitch. They're lazy, half of them. At least he tries to beat his man, and when he does lose, he always normally wins it back. Farke also likes other players like Harrison. I like Harrison, and I kind of think Everton kind of ruined him, to be honest, because I think he used to be good in attack. I don't know what happened to him since he went to Everton, basically. But yeah, it is one of those things where I don't trust the 49ers to get the right person in. I just don't trust them. Like they didn't back Farke in the window either. So I just don't back them to do the right thing that they have to do to keep us up in this division. I don't see him. I don't know. The thing is, it could go one or two ways. It could be the new manager could come in, right? And I don't know if this is the right time for the new manager, right? Because we got like 4 difficult games. I know we got Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool, City. I think in the next 4. Like you don't bring in a new manager for those games, surely, because then after those games, I know it won't be everyone, but people will want that manager sacked because he's lost 4 in a row. So it's one of those things for me about, do we give Daniel Farke these 4 games, see how he does performance-wise, see if what he does against... I mean, the best result we can probably hope for is against Villa, maybe Chelsea, because I don't really rate Chelsea. I think they're beatable. Let's see how he does in the next 4 and then maybe make a decision, because if you bring in the new manager, I don't think we win those games anyway. So you might as well just give him the next 4 at least and see... For me, give him the next 4 and just see how we do performance-wise, and maybe we get a shock win against the Chelsea. If we get 4 points... Say we got 4 points, like we got a draw against Chelsea and a win against Villa or something like that, then people's minds would change again. So it's one of those things about, I would give Farke the next 4 games, because if you bring in a new manager, they're probably going to lose those games anyway. And the whole thing about, bring in a new manager because they can get their tactics in because it's international break, but most of our players are out on international duty, so it's not even like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we can get into the international break another time, but I'm going to be so pissed if Dan James goes and gets injured again. I know he's not been good and he's been worse than Aronson, but he's a good option off the bench and he's an impact. And if he goes out on international duty and he gets injured again, I'm done. Like, it's fucking bullshit. Where were we up to? Critical. We read that whole thing? Didn't we? The goals in the last 2 games. That's what we're up to. We could have made our lives easier for sure. I didn't expect a smooth, easy ride this season, which we all didn't. And this is where I'm in like 2 minds at the moment. I'm in 2 minds because I'm in the mind of, I could understand if they did sack him. Like, I could understand if the 49ers did sack Farke. I could understand. Like, I wouldn't be raging about it. It's one of the things. I don't want him out, but if he does get sacked, it's not something I'll be raging about. Like, how could they do this and blah blah blah. But it's one of those things about, we're probably in the position we all expected us to be in. Like, we all said at the start of the season, we'll take 17th. We're performing like a 17th place team. Get him out. Like, that's just confusing for me. Like, we're performing where everyone thought we would be. Like, everyone would be happy with a 17th place finish. At the moment, we're 16th. We're above that. We got a point per game. We're averaging a point per game so far. And I think it's more the fact of our next 4 fixtures. Like, if our next 4 fixtures were like easier fixtures, I think people will be like less on the Farke out. It's more, I understand that we got very difficult fixtures in the next 4, and that's why we got the difficult fixtures going all the way to like January. But for me, I'm looking at that and I'm like, you bring in a new manager, it's not going to change anything in the next 4. We're still going to probably lose them all. Like, we're probably more likely to get some results with Farke in charge in the next 4 than we are bringing someone else in, just because of the difficulty of the fixtures. But that's just me. Where are we up to? Daniel Farke, difficult run with 3 away games in 4. Now, I understand people are mad at this because he said difficult run. We've had a difficult run with 3 away games in the last 4. If you look at the away stats, the stats for the away performances in the entire league, all the way up to like 7th, there's like 1 win for each team. So he is right with what he's saying. Like, he is right with what he's saying. But I do understand it's hard because we've versed a bunch of like the lower teams, like the teams around us as well, which is why people are angry, like the Forest, the Burnley, where we beat West Ham. And it's one of those things about, you played the ones around you, though. It wasn't like the difficult top fixtures. But I understand what he's saying, that, away from home is tough. If you just look at the league table and for away form, just look at the away form table and you'll be like, oh, maybe it is difficult to just get a point away from home against anybody, even Burnley, even West Ham, not Wolves because they're the easiest team in the league, but and they're absolutely terrible. But the rest of the league is like, oh, it is difficult to win away from home. So yeah, still on a 1 point per game average, which I just said we're on a 1 point per game average, which is where we all wanted to be. Then he went in to talk about Nonso, who wasn't on the bench. Nonso was an option off bench, but felt the extra 2 weeks of training after today would be better than risking him after so long out, including a surgery. So he did have a surgery. He's been training for 2 weeks, and Farke thought in his head, I'm not going to risk him on my bench for this game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give him the break and then give him the international break. And I understand people are mad at this, and I can understand two sides, because I can understand people mad at this about, well, you should risk him because we need the points. But if he comes off the bench and gets injured, people are going to be raging a fuck for, why'd you bring him back too early? Why'd you bring him back too early? So realistically, Farke can't win either way. You know, it's one of those things about he does bring him back, and he did come off the bench and he was, you know, he wasn't at it. Like, he played shit, or he got injured again. People will be raging again about, why'd you bring him back too early, or he wasn't ready, and blah, blah, blah. So for me, Farke can't win either way. But it is one of those things about, you got to start risking these players. Like, I mean, people tried to have a go at Farke when Stack had that injury with his ribs, and players play with injuries all the time. Like, players play with, no player is 100% normally for most of the season. And yeah, it's one of those things about, I can understand both sides. I can understand the whole, well, we need Nonto, we need an option. He's an option off the bench, would be, you know, you probably class him as an X factor off the bench. I mean, it'd probably be our best option off the bench, even though I think he started the season very poorly. Like, he was very poor off the bench, starting at the start of the season, because he did start. He was poor. He didn't create any chances. He's created 0 chances, by the way. And yeah, it's just one of those things for me about that. But you want to bring him back. You know, you want to have that, at least some impact off the bench. And he probably would have been one of them if Farke just risked him. But again, probably doesn't change much. I feel half and half right now. So it's like, I could understand if they sacked him. Like, I could understand if they actually sacked him, but I don't want him out right now, because I think that the next 4 games are that tough anyway, that the new manager will come in and just lose all 4 probably anyway, and there's more chance of us getting points with Farke in charge against Chelsea, against Villa. I think for me, I want to see how we do at home, because our home form is what's going to keep us up this season, and away from home we've been poor, and we all know we've been poor away from home. But at home, I think I want to see how we play again. I think Farke deserves the Villa game just to see. I want to see how we play at home, because I think we're good at home. I think we've been good at home, right? And I think I don't know. I can feel a result against Villa for some reason, because it's at home, even though they just absolutely smash Bournemouth 4-0. I just feel like at home at Ellen Road I just feel like a result at Ellen Road will happen, because I just feel like we're too good at Ellen Road, and you know, we've only lost 1 game in the past year, and that was against Spurs, and even in that game we were a bit unlucky. So, and you know, we drew against Bournemouth, we drew against Newcastle, so I think our home form, I mean, as I said, that's what's going to keep us up. Away form, no one does well away in the entire league. I want performances away to be better, but results-wise, everyone's pretty similar in the league when it comes to away form. So it's one of those things about, I want to see the performances away from home be better, but the results are pretty similar across the entire league. But yeah, it is a thing of like, I don't know. I feel like if they're going to sack him, it will be done in the next 2 to 3 days. They got to do it. If they're going to sack him, they have to do it early. They can't wait a whole week and then do it like next week for me. Because then I'll be like, why have you waited this long? You know, at least get the new manager in, even though half the players won't be there because of international duty, because they'll be out on international duty. At least get him in as early as possible. But I don't see them sacking Farke, just because I go look at what they did with the 49ers, with Rangers, and how long it took them to sack Russell Martin. Like, I look how long it took them to do that, and I feel like we're 16th right now. We're averaging a point per game, which is probably where the club probably thought we would be, you know, a point per game. That's probably what their target was, get a point per game. That's probably what the board's target was as well. You know, 38 points, point per game, stay up. I think that's their target. So at the moment, we're on that target. So yeah. But that was the entire press conference. After that, I think I did. Oh no, I don't think they're mentally struggling. This is what Farke said. I don't think they're mentally struggling. If the outside world is panicking and mentally struggling and everything and everything is a bit closer, we can't influence it. We are quite calm within the group. We don't need a mental breakdown, a mental break right now. So yeah, he's basically just saying the group, the players are all calm and they're not as panicky as we are, which is fair, which is what you want. I mean, you don't want your players to start panicking like we are. That would be terrible. That would be absolutely awful if they started to act like the way we do. You know, if the players are like, "Oh God, we're done," and blah blah blah. But yeah, that was all that happened in the press conference. Now we're actually going to get into the goals. Now I want to go through the goals and just the defense. I'm sorry, but the defense has been poor in the last couple of games, especially the midfield for me, like the midfield. Yeah, so the midfield's been poor for me. The defense has been poor. Ampadu's been poor in the last couple of games. But yeah. So we're gonna get. Why did it? The hell? Oh my god! Why did it do that? Anyway, I guess I'll do it like this. So yes, Leeds United. The goals we conceded. Let's go through the goals because they are frustrating. The goals that we did actually concede. If I can get it up for you guys, let me just check something. I need to check something real quick. Oh, cause it's like for some reason it was all choppy for a second. Let me just make sure everything's good. We'll do that. Okay. If that fixes it, let me just see if that. No, okay, don't worry about it. But yeah, we'll go and talk about the goals. So, let's go into the goals. If I can get it up here, where do I? Oh, where did it go? It was right here. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. So yes, these are gonna be a. Let me just put that down there. So these are the goals. I think we'll go through the only positive, which is our goal. I think we'll go to through the positive first. So this was the goal that we actually scored in the game. So Longstaff does very well to win the header. So this is how it starts. The ball just basically launched up in the air. Longstaff wins the header, does well, puts it into this space. Great header to put it into the space. He then, you go here, Okafor gets there. Okafor does very well for me to actually get there and battle for the ball. He wins it. He flicks it past him, basically. He flicks the ball under him and gets around him. He then, slides in. Great pass to Aronson, who's there in the space. You look at Mecha. Mecha makes a good movement over to here. Then Aronson passes to Mecha. Mecha, if you watch, he does a step. If you watch the goal back, Mecha's very good at this. He does like 2 step overs here. He does 2 step overs, which makes a defender it makes him hesitate, which helps him get on the outside, which he does. So he does like 2 step overs like right here, and then that makes the defender like hesitate, like he hesitates, and that gives the split second for Mecha to push on the outside, get here, smash the ball across goal, and it's a beautiful finish in the bottom corner. So yeah, good goal from Leeds United. And I mean, the bit of positives that we have is we scored a nice goal. I mean, the rest of the game was terrible, but the good goal, you can see that we do have something in attack. You know what I mean? And finally starting an actual striker in Lucas Mecha. I'm happy with that we actually got a striker on the pitch. And that's what a striker does. They can put the ball in the back of the net just like that. Great finish from Mecha. And he's earned his start for me for the next game as well against Villa. He has to. But yeah, good work from Leeds United. Good work from Okafor. Aronson does well, does his job, because there's a couple of times that I have seen, Dan James, Nonto, Eve, or Aronson make the wrong pass when it's an easy pass. They've put too much on it. They put not enough on it. But he's put the pass in to Mecha. Mecha's done that little step over and gone on the outside, bang, shot on the back of the net. Great finish. And yeah, that's the bit of positives. Now we're gonna get on to the negatives, which is the Forest. Well, 2 out of the 3 goals. I don't have I didn't have images of the penalty because it was just a penalty. But yeah, this is the first one. So the ball goes over the top, and this happened a couple of times for me. I don't have the picture of it, but the ball goes over the top, right? And it just feels like there's been space left in behind a lot from Leeds United. Now, I don't know if that's down to to Goodmanson and Bogle, like the fullbacks. I don't know who it's down to. You can't really tell because the camera's not over there, so you can't really tell if someone else should be covering a bit over. But there just seems to be space over the top, out wide all the time, and there just seems to be balls over the top, and they just find space, which this happened again. And then Ampadu gets done way too easily here, so he goes this way, and then he just gets cut. As you guys can see, he just gets cut. I've highlighted Longstaff and Stack here as well because I'm looking at both of them. I'm looking at Longstaff, who's, he's looking at the ball. That's right, doing that, and then you got Stack who's kind of jogging. So you got Stack who's jogging. Farke doesn't have a good record in the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a good record in the Premier League, but we all know that. But I don't put that on him because it's Norwich and they didn't back him. They didn't spend any money basically. And yeah, I don't really put that on him. But at Leeds United, like this is where we're supposed to be. But I do understand that that was a concern, but I can't put that on him. What he did at Norwich. I can't put that on him. But yeah, back on the goal. We got Longstaff here, who's just like he's looking at the ball. He's probably doing the right thing here. He's probably in this right position. Maybe he should be covering here, but maybe he should be a bit over here covering that, so that pass is cut out. But BL's got it covered. So maybe not. Or yeah, I don't know where you should stand here. But then you got stuck. If you go to the next picture here, so this is after the ball gets whipped in, and then Perry makes the save. So Longstaff is still like, if you watch here, Longstaff has moved there. He's basically moved just straight instead of going up, which I think is where he should go, because BL has that covered. So for me, he should be like near the middle of the box. And if you look at Stack, he's jogged. He's basically jogged to like here. The save has happened here, and you just look at how open. Like someone's gotta be there. Someone's gotta be looking at like this area. You know what I mean? Someone's gotta be in this area just because you don't know what's gonna happen. There could be a flick on, there could be anything. There could be, as what happened, Perry saved it. But you can't just give people so much space in the box. And I know it's not the same, but this is similar to what happened against Brighton with the cutbacks and just having players open near the penalty area. Just open. And then, of course, the ball goes out to him. And look at that, bang, just shot. I've looked at this back a couple of times. Perry can't really do much more because he's come out, he's punched it, and then he's tried to dive to the side and save it. I think Rodon's got to stick his leg out and do better. I feel like Rodon's got to stick his leg out and do better, but I'm not going to put it all on him, of course. Like, I just think he should do better with putting his leg out quicker. But yeah, then that shot goes in the back of the net, and we go, what was that, 2-1? No, that was 1-1. That was 1-1. Yeah, that was the goal after 2 minutes after we scored. So yeah, then it was 1-1. And now we'll get into the next goal, the last goal we have to talk about, the second one. So this is basically this is what I got. I got Gibbs White highlighted. I've got Ampadu, Stack, and BL. So Stack again is kind of jogging a bit. Ampadu, I'm looking at BL here. This is where I'm looking at. I'm looking at BL and Ampadu. So BL, I don't know what BL's doing. He's like in a stance like he's jockeying, but there's no one there. So I don't know what's he doing in this situation. Like, you see this, and you know Gibbs White's right here. You got to know he's right here. Ampadu's coming across, right? But BL's got to be more alert of Gibbs White for me. He's kind of ball watching in my opinion. In my opinion, BL here is just ball watching, and he did this against Brighton, which is why for me I'll bring him out for Strauch. I'll start Strauch ahead of BL in the next game because he's done it 2 games in a row. He's been caught ball watching, and again he's ball watching here. Gibbs White, and then you look at this. Ampadu's here, but it's more BL for me. Like, the main one I'm looking at is BL. You've got Stack again on the outside of the area. You've got Ampadu over here. And then you got BL. And by the way, Stack being here, out of position right now, this came from a free kick, if you remember, that just got, I'm pretty sure it was a free kick that just got launched over the top. So, like, I'm looking at this, and then you look at where BL is. He should know Gibbs White's here. But it's the positioning afterwards, right? So you go from this. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, I got multiple pictures. So you go from here. So this is the first picture when he's, like, Goodmanson standing him up. I think Goodmanson maybe gets beat too easily here as well. But yeah, so Gibbs White's here, and then you look and go here. So now BL has moved back a bit. So BL's spotted Gibbs White, and he's done the right thing here. He spotted Gibbs White, and he's moved back to basically cover him. So I'm looking at him now. Ampadu's still here, though, but I'm looking mainly at BL because he's the centre-back in this situation. So you got BL, who is, again, look where his eyes are. He's ball-watching. He's ball-watching without noticing Gibbs White. And what does he do? He just allows Gibbs White to run through, bang. He just allows Gibbs White to run through in this situation and end up here all alone for a header in the back of the net. For a tap-in, basically. I mean, a one-on-one with the keeper, which a header from here should go in the back of the net at Premier League level. It's just very poor, because you go from the start. BL's here. And then he, like, Gibbs White's moved so much, you have to notice. You have to notice what he's doing and just the space they're in. The space that they're in, I think that's the last pitch. Yeah, it is. But the space they're in is just so annoying because they are preventable goals that we're just not doing well defensively for me. We're just not doing the job defensively, and it's just frustrating. It's very frustrating at the moment. But yeah, that's the other goal, and it just feels like it just feels like in the last couple of games, and maybe you have to look at Farke with this. You know, maybe you do have to look at Farke when these things have been happening, and when you're looking at it, do you have to look more at Farke about why is this happening over and over again? Maybe that's the case. Why is this happening over and over again? It's happened for the last couple of games. You know, as I said, the Brighton game, it happened for every goal basically. And yeah, it seems to be Beol. I'm sorry, but it seems to be Beol again. Like again, as I showed you, Beol for the second goal against Forest. I think Beol was caught ball watching for 2 of the goals against Brighton, and I think he has to come out. Surely he has to come out. It's not all him, of course, but he's the main point of why this is happening. Just ball watching. It is for me, but it also, you have to look at Farke for this and his management. And surely you look at the replays and you go, why are you ball watching? You know, why are you ball watching in these situations, Beol? And you know, maybe even like the midfield, as you saw by those clips, non-existent. I don't know where the midfielders are sometimes. Like Ampadu's there, where like Stack, as I said, outside the box. I don't know where Longstaff is in that second goal, but it just feels like we're just all over the place at times. It feels like the midfield aren't defending. You know, you look at the team and you say the 3 in midfield are more defensive players. You know, they have to go forward, like your Stacks and Longstaff. They have to go forward, but they also have to defend. And it just feels like they're not doing that job like they were at the start of the season. You know, at the start of the season when they'll get back and defend. It feels like they're just slow and they're just jogging. Like as I showed you there, Stack was just jogging for the second one, and it just feels like we're caught ball watching too much. The midfield has been poor defensively, and it just looks sloppy. Basically, it looks like we've lost something. We've lost something in this team defensively, whether that's on the defenders, on the centre backs, on the midfield. I feel for Rodon, because Rodon's been good actually in probably every game, even the games where there's been mistakes and multiple goals. I haven't blamed Rodon really for one. Maybe like one of the goals has been his fault this season. Like he's been good this season, and I'm looking at his partner, whether it's Strauch or whether it's Beol. You know, both of them have made errors. Both of them have made mistakes, and it is annoying. But yeah, that's going to be your next day of thoughts for this week. I might make a video tomorrow, and maybe I'll do another stream depending on what happens. I mean, if Farke gets sacked, I'll definitely do a video or a stream. But yeah, hopefully we got the international break, which is boring. Like, we have to go through the international break. Boring. But yeah, make sure you do like, comment, and subscribe if you are new. If you're watching this live, or if you're watching this after, we've hit 1K, and our next goal is, of course, probably 2K. We'll get there one day, hopefully. But yeah, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Videos, I'll try and make some more content. I'll try and think of other things to make. We'll just, hopefully there's not like a wild thing to have to make about Farke being sacked, because I just don't know if it's going to work, especially as I said, in our next 4 games when we got Villa, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. I think that's the next 4. But yeah, it's a very difficult run coming up. And we all knew this. We all knew the run from December, basically the end of November, December, all the way to near the end of January. It's going to be a very difficult run for us. But hey, as long as we're at the bottom 3, I'm confident. You know, as long as we're at the bottom 3, we're safe. You know what I mean? It's one of those things about, if we lose, but the other teams around us lose, it'll be fine. I understand that, West Ham have won the last 2 in a row. Forest have got their second win of the season, of course, against us. You're looking at the league table and you're like, it just looks like West Ham and Forest people are thinking, and I thought the exact same thing of like, are they going to be safe? Are they about to just both climb out the bottom 3 so easily? And it just feels like if that happens, it's going to be Wolves. Wolves are down. Then it'll be Burnley, in my opinion, and then the only other two I could see getting relegated at the moment currently, which is wild because we're both not even in the bottom 3. It's Leeds or Fulham. For me, the only team we can drag in there right now, how I'm feeling, are basically based off Forest getting a win, and I think their performances are going to turn around, and the way West Ham have got 2 wins in a row. I just have this feeling that the only team we could drag into it is Fulham. And that's a worry for me, because Fulham have a good team. And it is a worry, no team's too good to go down. No squad's too good to go down, but it is worrying currently. I mean, we've come back from the international break. We could get a win against Villa and then draw against Chelsea, and all of a sudden we got a gap between us and the relegation zone again, and we've got 4 points in the next 4. 4 points in the next 4 would be great. I mean, that's a point per game. That's still on a point per game, But yeah, it is worrying at the moment. I understand, and I am a bit worried right now. But hopefully we can get through the international break. No injuries, please. Especially, oh my god, the worst one would probably be Rodon. Please, no injuries. It sucks that we have another international break, so that's a week without football. But yeah, it is. Hopefully, no injuries. Hopefully, Dan James doesn't play for Wales, please. And yeah, basically, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all